All right. In this video, I want to talk about being lukewarm because I just watched a video of a lady talking about how a young girl was asking her about this because she said that she was afraid and terrified that she would be lukewarm. And this is good because when you're lukewarm, it says that Jesus spit you out of his mouth. And to this same church that he says is lukewarm in Luke, not in Luke, in Revelation chapter 3, he says he's on the outside knocking to be let in. So basically, to this church of Laodicea, he's saying, I never knew you. Right? I never knew you. Because they're not in him, he's not in them, there's no relationship. So how do you know if you're lukewarm? Well, you may say, oh, you believe in all this. Well, is the world comfortable around you? Are unbelievers comfortable around you to hang out with you and tell you jokes and maybe even make fun of Christianity, make fun of you, make fun of Jesus, and they don't expect you to be upset about it, right? Or are the people of the world who are obviously unbelievers not convicted around you? Because you see, lukewarm means you're comfortable, right? And when people go into lukewarm water, it's basically the same temperature as, room temperature. So it's not a shock. It's like, oh, this is just like what I'm used to, right? That people are used to this. So another way to say this is that you're worldly. Are you worldly? Right? Where there's no real difference between you and the world? Because you see, if you are fire or ice here, people are going to notice, right? Now, the ice, I think, is people who are legalists, if you ask me, right? They're legalists. This is more of people who are under the Old Covenant or Old Testament. And they say, you got to keep this law, right? The world's not comfortable around these kind of people, right? Because they're cold and they feel that temperature and they're like, oh, right? These people are, self-righteous and they're always going to tell you, you got to be keeping the law kind of thing, right? But in the same way, if you're born again, there should be a fire within you from the Holy Spirit. And people feel it when they're around you and they're uncomfortable, right? They're uncomfortable around you, and it's because you talk about Jesus, right? You talk about getting saved, right? You correct doctrine. You correct behavior, right? You'll say something about these things, and people who are lukewarm or basically unbelievers feel uncomfortable, right? That's another thing. If you're a Christian, you may be lukewarm if you are opposed to go on either side here, and if you try to mix these sides together. Do you try to say, oh, well, For example, the Seventh-day Adventists would say, oh, Jesus saved you to give you a second chance to keep the law. And now you got to keep the law. And if you sin, you lose your salvation. But to get it back, Jesus doesn't have to die for you again. You have to repent and actually keep the law again. Right? So they mix these things together. And they openly admit that they are the Laodicean church, which is unsaved, right? They never knew Jesus. Right? They admit that. But a lot of you may not be mixing these two things together. But you're just kind of going through the motions. Right? We can put that here. Right? You just kind of habitually, well, I go to church every Sunday or every Saturday or whatever, and, you know, I thank God and pray over my meals, you know, say grace and what have you. I might read the scriptures now and then and what have you, but there's no real oomph where you really want to get closer to God. You want to know God. You want to better know and understand His Word, to better know and understand Him, to help others better know and understand Him and His Word, right? There's nothing in there that's obviously on fire, as in you're motivated, right? And when you're on fire, other people are like, ugh, they get irritated, right? And it starts to heat up the water. And if you're not acclimated to the heat, it bothers you, right? That's what I notice with like comments on my videos. There's people who don't like some of the things I get into, which shows they're not used to the heat. And then there's some people who are like, I smell what you're stepping in, just to try to make a joke of it here. You know, they can relate, they can connect. They're acclimated to the fire, right? At least to the temperature that I'm at, right? So, yeah, some of these people lukewarm, right? And some of them it's because, you know, the ice. To ice, lukewarm feels warm, right? It feels hot, right? Because they're used to the ice, right? But this is actually a step closer to them actually coming to the gospel, right? Than being in here, right? But you do notice that Jesus says, this group He spits out of His mouth. We're gonna 666 them here, right? They're basically just condemned, right? He says, I would rather you either be cold or hot. Isn't that interesting? Why would He rather you be cold than lukewarm? Lukewarm is like, at least you mixing in the gospel there, right? It's like, oh no, because see, now you're watering down the truth and you're making people feel comfortable, right? Ice, when it's cold, you're not comfortable, right? And I used to be a legalist, right? So I know that you're never comfortable, you're never secure of your salvation, and you're always walking on eggshells, and you're always focused on yourself instead of God and everybody else. You're like Peter when you focus on the storm and you sink, because when you focused on anything but Jesus, such as you trying to keep the law, you sink. But you see, Jesus can use that, because that's what got me to actually call out to God to save me. Just a quick story here. When I was a legalist, I would talk to people who believed in being saved by grace through faith. And they would ask me simple questions like, are you sinless? And I would say, no. Like, have you stopped sinning? No. Then they would say, well, then why are you telling me to do it? Why don't you stop sinning and become sinless before you start telling me to do it? Right? Take the mote out of your own eye before you start trying to take it out of mine. And it's like, you got me there. So what would I have to go do? Well, I would have to go pray to God saying, Lord, I want to keep your law. I'm doing my best to keep it, but I can't. and it's a burden, and it's frustrating, and I have no peace, I have no joy. And not only that, if you want me to reach others to warn them to say that they need to keep the law or else they're going to go to hell, you have to change me to make me a law keeper because I can't do it. So you see, since I was cold, I wasn't lukewarm. It brought me to the point where I was like, God, you have to help me. You have to do something. I even told him, you have to make me righteous. Right? So he could use that because the law, like Paul says, was used to show you your sin. So I was constantly seeing there how I'm a sinner. It was always right before me, you're a sinner. So I could see that, right? So God was able to take this and then use this to eventually bring me over here to be like, oh, you want me to make you righteous? Well, here, this is how I do it. Your life for mine. I give you my righteousness. You don't establish your own. And it's like, whoa, right? So you see, if you're cold or hot, he can still use you. Because even when you're cold, you can still be preaching the law to the lukewarm here. And they too can become cold, which then could be used to do the same thing that was happened to me to then bring them over here to warm them up. But when they're lukewarm, you're comfortable. There's no conviction. And that's what we can throw on top of this here. Let's go back to the purple here. No conviction. Right? None whatsoever. You can even put like nap time. Right? Because you don't got to worry about anything. You know, this is basically like when Jesus says, hey, stay up and pray with me. And it's like, okay, back to sleep. Right? If you don't have conviction, there's a good chance you're lukewarm. As in, you're not convicted, not just about, oh, you said something wrong, you did something wrong, but also conviction about, I should get closer to God. I need to better know him. I want to read his word. I need to ask him some questions about some things. And I need to talk to other people about this. If you don't have really any conviction, for example, like with the Seventh-day Adventist Church, there's no real conviction for reaching others, right? Because you're comfortable, because you think, well, yeah, we're lukewarm, but we're still part of the Laodicean church. We're part of the church, so we're saved. We're part of that remnant, right? And everybody else, if they won't accept the truth that we're preaching here, well, they'll just burn up and be ash, so it's not a big deal, right? Because they don't really teach hell. There's another thing. Let's put that there. There's no real hellfire, even though Jesus teaches hellfire. This is something from the lukewarm church. There is no hell, and there's a reason why there's no fire, right? No conviction. Because I remember thinking that when I was at Seventh-day Adventist, if I would actually talk to somebody about keeping the law and keeping the Sabbath, how it's his seal, and they reject it, my mind would always go, well, at least they'll just burn up to ash. And they'll just no longer exist. And all right. And that's how I would give myself some peace about it. About somebody rejecting it. All right? So you see how it doesn't really, you're like, all right, whatever, they reject it, no big deal. But when you're on the over here, or even over here, under the law, there's still you don't want the hellfire. We'll put that there. Right? You don't want that because that's that's basically motivating you. And you use that for fear to others to be like, yeah, obey because you're gonna get hellfire here. Right? And here is about how Jesus took that punishment on for you. Right? So no hell would explain why they're lukewarm there. So to wrap this video up, I would like to say that I got an email from YouTube about their partnership program that I can apply for it. So even if I apply for it, doesn't mean I'm going to get it. I haven't done so because I don't know the details about it. The main thing I'm bothered about is, does that automatically monetize my channel where they're going to put ads on the videos? Because I don't want you guys to have to deal with ads, especially ads where I'm not actually in support of whatever it is they are advertising. And you might not be either, right? And I'd rather you be able to just sit through the message with no interruptions. But, yeah. I was thinking about doing it, mainly because I was thinking about doing live streams. So I also want your feedback on that. What do you think about doing a live stream, I don't know, once or twice a week? And what times would be good to do live streams? I see people who do live streams like early in the morning. I see a lot of people do it later at night. I see a lot of people, they'll do it on weekends. So I want to get feedback from you who actually watch this. When would be a good time to do it? And if I do live streams, it's going to be on the YouTube channel JD Morin. So those of you who are watching on the other YouTube channel, or if you're watching on Bitchute, Rumble, or I don't know if I'll put this on TikTok. It might be too long of a video to put on TikTok. But if you're watching there, you're not going to see the live streams. Maybe now and then I can do a live stream on the TikTok. I think you can do it there too. Or I could try to do both at the same time. That might be a little weird and awkward, but I think it could be done. But, yeah. Let me know what you think about that. And there was some people who saying, oh, if you did the partnership, people could have a membership and do this stuff, and they could use it as a way to donate and support you. Well, if you want to donate and support, there's ways you can do so in the info description box. I already have 4 ways to set up where you can donate and support my ministry in the info box. I usually say that at the very, very end of my videos. So maybe a couple times here I'll annoy people and I'll mention it at the beginning of the video. Just so people know. Because I imagine not everybody actually looks at the info description box on some of these videos. Because they either just watch the video or they'll skip right to comments to see what is being commented, or if they want to leave a comment themselves and what have you. So I get it, but yeah, maybe I'll put a link in the comment section or something. I have no idea. I can do different things and just pin it there so people who go to the comment section can see. That's a little time consuming to do for every video, but it can be done. So I just got that idea right now, so I'm thinking about applying that. That's going to annoy some people. I'm going to get feedback on that one. But hopefully it's productive. But anyway, if you like the video, you like the channel, please take a moment to pray to our Heavenly Father that He would keep us all going, put a hedge of protection around us, and provide for us until He comes and gets us. And He keeps this ministry going. And even, if possible, this might be an answer to this prayer of supporting me through this ministry. That would be fantastic. And I can focus 100% on this without any distractions. And, yeah. And pray that if I do start doing this, that I don't get caught up in the weeds and in the thorns and thistles and the vines, and get tangled up in the worldliness and start getting money hungry and greedy. I'm not worried about it happening, but these things can sneak up on you, right? So pray for me in that sense as well. I don't want to become a sellout. I don't want to fall away. I don't want to taint the message, right? So, yeah, that's one of the reasons why I never wanted to do monetization. I didn't want to do, maybe not do this partnership thing, because I didn't want that kind of interference. I wanted to be supported by just people who watch the video and they feel like donating. That would keep it where I don't have to worry about any of that stuff. And I can just focus on this message, and I don't have to worry about appeasing their monetization standards, and I don't have to deal with whatever might be with this partnership standards, which probably are the same thing, where they start watching the videos a little more closely, and then they start nitpicking on when they want to flag a video and throw the video out. So that's another thing I'm worried about. They might go through the videos and start flagging them. There's been a time where that happens, where I'll get a flag on a video on one of my channels on YouTube, and then all of a sudden, the next day or within the week, I get a video flag from 6 months ago. And then all of a sudden, within a couple days, I get a flag on a video from 3 years ago, and then they shut my channel down. So sometimes it's like they don't flag your videos just so they can flag them all at once to shut down your channel. Believe it or not. So, again, your prayers to make sure that the ministry keeps going. And if the channel goes down, that God brings it back, right? Brings it back and makes it stronger, right? So, for example, if this is on the YouTube channel that seems to be growing right now, JD Morin, if that goes down, I'll probably just bring one up. I'll try to use the same name, but if not, I'll just put like JD Morin 2.0. Just so you know, just in case that something like that happens. But anyway, if you want to help out, I already told you there's an info box with 4 ways you can donate if you want to. But if you would just do something as simple as watch the video all the way through like you just did, that helps out. And if you would like, subscribe with the bell icon, share the video, share the channel, interact in the comment section. These things help out a lot as well too, right? I know a lot of you helping out with the likes and the views. It's why I got that email from YouTube, all right? So, yeah, thank you all for that love and support and your prayers. I appreciate it. Please continue to do so. And yeah, that's that. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. I'll see you in the next one.